Hello. I am sitting here on a Saturday, um, and I'm thinking I have like an extra bit of time here, and I think that I would like to do a little poetry reading for anybody who might want to watch. Let's see here. I think that what I'm going to do for this is alternate between poems in English and Spanish, and these are all my own poems. And the Spanish, I will 100% upfront just say all of these Spanish haikus in Spanish are Google translations. I have trained a little bit in Spanish, but I let Google do my translation. And so this is my book, Breath of a Heron, which was put out on Amazon and Audible. And in Spanish, it's, I think, called Aliento de un Garza. So that's my best Spanish pronunciations. I did train some in Spanish, but I don't want to sabotage someone else's language. I'm just trying to be bilingual so that more people can be able to listen, because I think that the English language shouldn't be the only language that is put out there for things. I think that you ought to give other people more opportunities to read your work. So without further ado, here is the first poem that I'm going to read. It is from Aliento de una Garza. And the pronunciation is not going to be great. Deslizándose sobre los campos, del arroyo, Garza, gran azul, vese aliento. And I think for the English-speaking people who don't speak Spanish, I need to go ahead and translate it into English. So let me translate that in English. Gliding over fields, stream detour, does heron great blue see her breath? Now here is a poem from Dance with the Dish Rag, which is one of my new books that you can get on Audible and Amazon. Love over fear. I tried so hard to touch no one because I feared I could not impact. I convinced myself I was no one. But this year a boy grew to a man, and he came to see me for 10 minutes and taught me how wide my effects. All I had to do was sit on my porch and love the world. The next poem in that book I am reading now. My happy place is a memory of chase, riding a big wheel down the lane, long limbs, legs splayed. And one more from that book. Wabi Sabi House. Their whole house was a work of art, the paintings on the wall, nature's crack in the cinder block, the cat curled in a ball, every trace of DNA, every single book, arranged with love or impatience, regardless, art was way. Some clothes stuffed in a t-shirt drawer, a special shell collection, peace creams folded lovingly, and every imperfection. Perhaps to some onlookers, the house itself looked shabby, and every milkweed in the yard and apples seemed too crabby, but they were just like heirloom apples, just a little less known variety. And even when the mulberries fell and brought on such sobriety, one of the women who lived there would say she was an artist, but it was her mother who made the art the smartest. That mother washed the dishes and kept up with the floors. Her mother stacked the books with care and Christmas tree of wishes. They decorated the tree they decorated with a type of lime with fruit growing so small and sour, growing giant near the time. I'm not saying the house was a masterpiece seen by most, just that the roof and dirt floor basement was art to its host. They knew it would not always be kept in their name, and someday other artists would, would move in with no shame. Maybe cut down the milkweed and probably mulberries and paint all the walls white and even cut the blackberries. But for the right person, it didn't mind them at all. Two women's art can be transformed by the next artist down the hall. The next poem is coming from Breath of a Heron. Day ahead. Mud-stained snow, long path lit up as under quilt, secretly reading. And here we have that same poem translated for you by Google Translation in Spanish, Español. Día por delante, nieve, manchada de barro, largo camino iluminado como debajo colcha, leyendo en secreto. And now I would like to skip to my book, A Sky with No Swifts, which is one of the other most recent books I've put out since I put out tons of books. I have over 40 books out, I think. I lose track. There's so many forms of them, too. Okay, here is my section in that book called 10 Swift Poems. And it begins with July 1st, 2018. And if you're listening to this poem and don't know what a swift is a chimney swift. It is a bird. Staying. To live vicarious through the swifts, with sudden lows and lovely lifts. To be a time a locust tree, waving my leaflets like some sea. The porch is my sandbar, the sky is its waves, to quizzically see how life behaves. Some things are just exactly same, by mountains wild or oceans tame. Some vacations are better ought to be not gone on, not leave the spot. I like swifts. I write tons of poems about them. Okay, let's see here what we got. I guess we're going back to Breath of a Heron in English. Before mulberry buds, 5 wrens rest high above, swaying prayer flag. Antes de la morera, Capulos 5 riachuelos descansan en lo alto, bandera de oración que se balancea. Valencia must be the word for, I don't know, flag, I think. Okay. Let's see here. What is next? I think that the next poem that I would like to read, I'm skipping ahead in Dance with the Dish Rag to the section of that book that has a big long series of waterfall poems. And I'm just going to read a couple of those. Where did you come from? Asked for poetry, the poet needs a walk. Slats of moss, someone may collect later. Moss harvester, must know a wide carpet. Some deep gully dripping beneath the clouds. And all of the poems in this series in Dance with the Dish Rag kind of start with a poem and then they end with a line, and that line begins the next poem in the series. Dripping beneath the clouds, under the lip of the cup God turns on us. I know of a place the rain barely touches, under thick canopy layers. Come with me sometime. Come with me sometime. We will stand together, arms length apart, contradicting green growth. If it rains, we will only hear a little added percolation through leaves and branches. Through leaves and branches. Repetition is writing a poem. Snipping with scissors the last water pellet that somehow finds the next stanza. The next stanza. I must remember the feeling called from hearing the loud stream roaring beside us, calming the nervous questions of nothing. To nothing. When I am here, I am always so aware. I am matter. I am something. My body is going to decay like this log that grows moss, like my old yellow lab, whose ashes I scattered in that whirlpool I swam in and felt a nibble. My current dog plays when she gets to the bank, hiding and digging in sand corners. I am matter. I am something to nothing. We are all going. We are all going somewhere beautiful. We're racing Styx or the waterfall. Over the waterfall, a 25-foot drop plummets. I have stood under her sheet of flow. There is something in this convenient little place agile hikers can go. I have swum in this gigantic deep hole at her base, and I have been stuck my head under of some of her like a shower. That involves a treacherous hike, but I am still called to this general spot about every week. I do an easy walk along the nearest road beside her headwaters. Beside her headwaters, some people made a road long ago. I know the Cherokee were here first, gathering mosses for their babies' diapers. It was not gravel then, clearly no. Clearly no, clearly no. When I heard rapids, what I didn't know falls away. The moment where I stand, teach me, is what elders say to their children, to their infants, with dry bottoms dried by gathering mosses. Why do we come here? Elders ask their rhetorical questions to wide-eyed little ones. So the question would be make their way in the place of importance. Why do we come here? Was a question I asked on my birthday last year. glissading on my mud bottom all the way to the bottom. But when I got to the lowest part, the question 2 had parted, I knew the answer, just like a stargazing booth is for me. Sometimes we must put ourselves in perspective. It can help to know how small we are. How small we are. How beautiful nature is. And Earth eating and digesting herself is not sad to me. Everything is shifting constantly here. I see familiar trees. I named them for human ideas in their trunks, ear tree, toilet tree. But if I studied each tree with the whole, I'd see smaller shifts on every tree each time. Place revisited. Oh, how you make me who I am. I read a lot of those. Here is a poem from Breath of a Heron that is also about that revisited place that I have a playlist on YouTube called Revisited Place. And it is this place that I revisit, and so if anybody wants to look at that playlist, it's kind of enjoyable because you can look at each video in a row. So this is my second to last poem, and it is going to be followed by my Spanish version of it, which will be my last poem. Bare weed tree wrapped with poison oak, mummified by snow, wren chipping bark. Árbol de hierba, desnudo, envuelto con roble venenoso, mamificado por nieve, wren estriado la corteza. Thank you for listening to all of these poems. I think that's about it. If you found this enjoyable, maybe you should subscribe to my channel. Unless if you're like my dad and he's allergic to subscribing to channels. But if you have a Google account, then you can subscribe to a YouTube channel for free. See y'all later.